Hi everybody, we're back and we're going to show you today how to add or delete a user ID in OS X. The first thing you want to do is go down to the system preferences icon, and we're going to go into that, and you want to go to users and groups. Now there's a little padlock at the lower left-hand corner. The first thing you'll notice, everything's grayed out. The add buttons are and delete buttons are grayed out. We have this lock icon here. This means that no changes can be made until an administrator puts his or her password in to allow the changes. So we're going to go ahead and click on that to authenticate, and we're going to do that. Okay, now it's unlocked. We can make changes. Now, as you see, there's a guest user that's by default already installed when you install the operating system. This user is usually disabled. It's only enabled to allow other people to connect to public shared folders over AFP. See if we wanted to enable it, which I would not recommend. It's a huge security risk. You would check off here, allow guests to log into this computer. You don't want to do that. But you also don't want to delete the user either. You want to leave it there. It's there for a reason. The current user that we are is Technology Closet. And as you can see underneath, it says it's an admin user. And as you can see here, it says allow the user to administer this computer. So there's a couple of types of users that you can create. You can create a standard user, or you can create an administrative user. The standard user would be perfect. It can be used for everybody as long as you have an administrator account, one administrator account on the system to perform system level administrator level functions that you would need that access for. General surfing the web, managing your photos, getting on Facebook, all of those things, checking your email, do not require administrator access. Things like changing some system preferences, installing some software, that kind of stuff will require administrator level access. So create one administrator account and then create several standard accounts. That's the best way to do it. The way you would create an account is just click this plus button, and you have the new account window. It comes up standard, administrator. There's actually a couple other, sharing only and managed with parental controls. We're not going to really get into those. It's standard or administrator is the two basic ones you want to do. We're going to create a standard account, and we're going to call it John. We'll call it John Doe. So you put his full name in here, John Doe. And if you tab down, it will automatically create the account name, which is just a concatenation of the first and last name. You would give him a password. And repeat it. And they recommend you give a password hint. We'll just say numbers. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Create the user, and the system will create the user. It's going to ask you the first time you do this to create the first or the second login on the system besides yourself. It's going to ask you if you want to keep the automatic login or turn it off. If everyone in your family is sharing the computer, or everyone in your office, or everyone in your group is sharing the single computer, it's probably a good idea to turn off automatic login, because then you have less of a chance of someone walking up, sitting down, and having it logged in under someone else's ID and start performing functions. So we're going to leave it on, but I would recommend highly, if you're going to have multiple people use the same computer, to turn it off. Okay, now you see John Doe is there, and we can reset his password because we are the administrator. His full name is here, which can be changed. That has nothing to do with his login name. If he has an Apple ID for iTunes account or for iCloud, you can set it up here. You can allow him to administer this computer, which will change it from a standard account to an administrator account. We don't want to do that right now. And we can enable parental controls. We'll go into parental controls in another video, but this is where you would enable that, and then you can go into the parental controls preference pane and set them up. Other things you can change for this user. If you come over to here, if you're highlighted on him and you go to the login options screen, it gives you a whole nother list of options here. This is general to pretty much everybody. So here's where you would set automatic login. You would just turn it off or pick John Doe, and then when you do this, it will ask you for the account's password that you're wanting to automatically log in. And then from then on, when you boot your computer, it will go right to that user's desktop. No password needed. How you would like to display the login window is a list of users or a name and password. Whether you want to list the users there to click on and then all they have to do is enter the password, or if you want a blank username field and a blank password field, and they have to provide both. On the users settings, you can show the sleep, restart, and shutdown buttons. And this is on the login screen, okay, before you even put your password in. Show an input menu. Show password hints. This is where they would show you what the hint, the numbers that we put in as the password hint if the person forgot their password. Show fast user switching menu. That's this up here, okay, where the technology clause is listed next to the time and the search menu button. If you have it as full name, of course, it's going to be the full name. You can change it to the short name, and it should change after I close down, or an icon. There's the icon. Okay, now my short name for the technology closet is the same as my full name, so it's not going to make much of a difference. But you can see if I select icon, it just makes a generic icon up there. And that would be for my fast user switching. Okay, I'm going to leave it as full name. And use VoiceOver in the login window. That's for accessibility, visually impaired. There's also this network account server section. This is for if you are running in an office with an Active Directory Windows server or an LDAP server for authentication, or if you have another Mac running OS X server operating system, and your users are centrally managed on that server. You can join this computer to that server and then allow network users to authenticate. Then that way anyone who has access on that server, has an account on that server, can then access this computer if it belongs. We can cover that. We'll cover that in another episode, as I do have a OS X server running on my network, but we'll cover that later. That's basically how you add a user account. Once you create the account and once you log in, the first time the account logs in, the system will create a home folder for that user and populate with all the default folders and things that it uses. And when you come back in and to delete the user, you would want to highlight the user, John Doe, and you would simply click the delete user account minus button. And it's going to ask you what to do with the home folder. If you're questionable about what files may or may not have been backed up or needed off of, from the person's home folder, you can save it as a disk image. Okay, so that it'll be deleted from the users folder and actually put in the deleted users folder. You can leave it alone, or you can delete the home folder and make sure it's totally gone and erase it securely. We're just going to delete the home folder and delete the user, and it's gone. Now, it was really quick this time because there was no home folder actually created because we hadn't logged in, and there was nothing obviously in it if it was there. So that may take some time if you have a user that's got a lot of data in their home folder. It may take some time because it's actually going to go through and delete all those files. When you're all done, you want to just click this lock button to lock it down again so that no changes can be made without an administrator's login. And you're pretty much done. The one thing about the standard login is when you are using that ID and want to perform some kind of function that requires administrative level access, installing an application, changing a system-wide preference, something along those lines, the system will prompt you for an administrator's user ID and password for authentication. If you have somebody who knows those credentials, they can certainly come along and input them, and you'll be able to perform that task without logging out. If you don't know them, then you're going to need to get a hold of the administrator of the computer and have them perform the task that you need. That's pretty much it for users and groups, and we'll go ahead and close this down. And remember, we encourage your feedback, suggestions, comments at feedback@thetechnologycloset.com. Thanks for watching.